We've all known the age of the earth. Let's just keep it at that. I'm a little ashamed I'm doing this now. The Bible, 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 Bible. Humankind, indigenous Australian occupation, 60,000 years. 60,000 years. Bible. Indigenous Australians have been on land since the beginning. Okay, so we have the kangaroo. The kangaroo. Kangaroo. Let's find a story of Neolithic kangaroo. Neolithic kangaroo. Serious. Right here. Okay. An extinct genus of giant short-faced kangaroos that lived in Australia. So a giant short-faced. So kangaroo. Australian 2020. 2020. This is a marsupial type thing, to be honest. The kangaroo. What do they call it? And macropus. 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 Antilopans. Antilopans. Antilop. And these are silly. So short-faced kangaroo. I can work with short-faced kangaroo, right? The ancient short-faced kangaroo. Short-faced kangaroo. Which would be over there. Neolithic kangaroo. Tame. And the ancient had a koala-like face and jaws of steel. That's kind of cool. Neolithic kangaroo. I can look at that one. Neolithic kangaroo. Neolithic kangaroo. That's cool enough. Oh, I think it's a game. That's cool. Game. 2020 internet. I have a more fun game for you. We have a young Earth magic cult over there. They don't know what they're talking about. This is kind of cool though. We can look at their creativity pictorially this way. I'll go over here. Then we don't have to think of all the books I have, and they're Dead Sea Scrolls. Ooh, no, that thing's bad. Stay away from me. Get that thing away from me. We're done with it. I'm done. We're Neolithic kangaroo, King James version of the Bible. So humankind, indigenous Australia, give me your King James version of the Bible. I'm doing this for the Akamai Nation. Kennewick Man 9,000 years ago was there. Geology, White Cliffs of Dover. Science, you guys know about this. 136 million years ago. Why don't Christians know? Geology, the Alps were born. That's why. 107 million years ago. That's like a little kangaroo, or a stork or something like that. He, so we need some marijuana right there in order to understand the hemp relationship. That's a nice picture though. So hemp a job for not. I'm sure some pretty's working on. Need y'all to look at yourselves and your faces. Look at your, you're all, you know, 7 7. Your creative age is human evolution, and 7.770 million years ago, we've been following the legend of a Neolithic kangaroo. Geology, Cascade range 37 million years. So it's a 1,000 year legend. 1,000 year legend. Okay, so the Bible was a 1,000 year legend. That one makes sense. 2020 wisdom, winded management writings, and I just say so stupid history, ignorant. Um, Bible equal 1,000 year Earth history legend of Apocrypha. The evolution of writing as compared to 1610. Shit that's written down 800 years makes really good sense to me. 1610. So I need all that. 1610. I need 1996. Purged out 1996. So we had you in this 800 year, that we had the 800 year manifestation of took God out of the Bible interpretation. We're going for the Pope. So in this 800 year, the writing ancient history passed out. We're going for the Pope, the New Jerusalem Apocrypha writer. Let me go grab that. Ignorance of the Apocrypha, saying it's not in here. That one's an on and off. It's not in that other one either. It's just the Bible. And as I'm outlining at this stop point right here, I'm collating Bible was medieval and single medieval, and it's really just a little notebook like this. Because it's the record keeping for the church that I was baptized in. And that's why I keep doing it with the 500 year false sister writing record kept for Bible Church. Record kept for 2020 Bible. And one right over there, churches, plural. Churches, 6,000 year Earth legend of Messiah. False history writing provided that one. Legend of Messiah provided false Messiah. Beautiful, beautiful catch. The best, coolest thing you could ever catch for me. And that's the neatest with the legend of biblical authorship. provided that the Quell theory was stupid data, foolish data. Near 1976, Apocrypha exposed that lucid ignorance and keeping your date ranges is probably composed. We don't know. It was lucid ignorance, probably composed. We have this probable right here in the Neolithic kangaroo picture, and not probable. Let me tell you where Grandpa Seth was not married. Let's read a story about Grandpa Seth. Well, I'm getting a little reminder of that was the. So let's look at Grandpa Seth. Where's my picture out there? Oh, Grandpa Seth. Grandpa Seth. Okay, welcome to the OTO. I was about Sparky. That's my good bear, and she happens to be patterned right into it because I was about Sparky. And naughty, if you must know, I should have worked. I have to take my. I witnessed my pastor not use the Bible correctly. So it meant that this little girl, I have to help with her education system, if you must know the truth. And that because I witnessed that, yeah, I was actually 100% correct with my hypothesis. In order to collapse the church I was baptized in, I'd have to memorize the whole fucking Bible. And I came up with that hypothesis. It is beyond that little hypothesis. It's actually all world history was in that book, and I had to pull it out because that cute little thing is that the all world history point here that we're discussing. The all world history in looking at how close we are. She is my granddaughter, and that is my daughter. I'm a little ashamed of our Christmas celebration there, where we're all kneel at the Conchtovers. To be honest, I'm not too sure what we were so excited about. However, I think that was the first Christmas I did see this little thing, or it might have been. Oh no, it was the Christmas she was pregnant. That was kind of funny. It's like, do you know how that happened? Actually, do you know how that happened? So, her answer is a little, do you know how this happened? Look at this, do you know how this happened? And she told me, honestly, we didn't expect that to happen. That's kind of how I got her also. So, we didn't expect that to happen. We thought something else would be good. Yeah, like that. No, we didn't expect that to happen. We didn't expect her grandfather to recognize that the Gideon Bible itself, her great grandfather, great grandfather, he was my grandfather. So great was a Gideon, and I have to explain that now in this little look at us. I have to explain Gideon was a moniker in time for the apocryphal union with the King James version of the Bible itself. So now we got to the New English. I felt a little satisfied when I found this. It was over there. Um, the so I'll put this up there. I'll put this up the back of my Bible. My handwritten copy of it. Right by the Renaissance Church. That's perfect. Yes, right there. That's burning. Oh my goodness, what happened? Girls in 1840s, 2020. Thank you. Between 14 and 17 years of age. But here again in 2012, ignorant historical record kept for local, regional, and global mineralogy data, of course, have been covering, and provided 2020 record for the distribution of this particular in 2020 that 1840 date. So Minerchal data. It appears 10 to 2015. 12 and a half years, Minerchi. So back to Grandma Eve, 130 years. And your grandpa said that fits to the next American sixth grade that we got that grade anecdotal. It is entirely anecdotal. But however, it's the not anecdotal look at Washington State. Not anecdotal at all in this next one. 2015 Legend and History record kept as anecdotal claims for mothers that began menarche at the age of 16. October 23, 4004 BC. Bastard, not anecdotal at all. You're reading the whole fucking book wrong. The Renaissance, 1300 to 1600, average age 16 pastors. You're reading everything wrong. Everything wrong. Everything wrong. Put it away. You had it wrong. Yeah. So thank you. The puff on the pub, Jimmy Swagger, it would be help better you to do that. Type thanks. I did this for you. And thank you for fucking with the King James Version of the Bible. Now I have to tell that you're turned up like a top. It's seriously turned up like a top in order to stop it menstruate much later than the daughters. Girls, you've been bleeding here for 6,000 years. Can you please hear me out for a little bit longer? The Nothing's changed. So the New English Bible with the Apocrypha, nothing did actually change. The girls have been bleeding since 1610, and nothing's changed except 17 years of age. Girls, except with an ECCEPT, it is pretty much anecdotal. It is anecdotal with staring at my daughter is right there and with you. Girls, come on, you need me. The girls, my goodness, churches, boys. This is the data that you need on your daughters, and you need to have in sacred union with the conversation everyone that you have any form of intercourse with, including boys. Do you think you're going to end up with a kid? I'd like to. Well, we've seen it in movies, but I don't really care about that. I would actually prefer to say, hey, boys who like boys and do that. My dog really had this really weird mating relationship with this cat, and it was they liked each other. They were actually lovers, and they'd seek each other out and snuggle together, like in really weird posture, and he would regularly mount my cat's head and make my cat purr, and they both liked it, like every 5 days. So kids, let's get sex out of your discussions and trade it for the story of a dog that liked to have sex with cats that made him purr. Let's purr God a little bit and look at him face to face and have a legitimate conversation about common ancestry. Common ancestry, kids. Yeah. Common ancestry is common history. Common ancestry is common writing, common everything. So evolution is the collection of writing that turned from me saying what I just said into the common ancestral origin of a very, 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 very comprehensive and detailed legend. How the theory of evolution ended up in the Bible is part of that. And that's in the 1976 answer. 1976 over there in on the origin of the species. Thank you. So here in the New English Apocrypha Bible, we have the So a lot of really neat things. It's all apocryphal information. These were the descendants of Aaron and Moses at the time when the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai at that specific moment in time. So taking that back to what they might look like, there's more information there. And what they were doing, you had to look at what information were they carrying forward, right? The Lord spoke to Moses saying, hey, bring forth the tribe of Levi specifically. So why? And appoint them to serve Aaron, the priest, and to minister to him. So what we know about understanding Torah is that the priest got the, the animal skins. So into my favorite being over there, you have dolphin skin. You know, however, in here with a little bit more information filling your empty skull brains, you don't know how to read this book. Understanding this particular covenant. This particular covenant is such oh my goodness, legend covenant though. It's beautiful. And the Lord spoke unto Moses face to face, bring forward the tribe of Levi. So it's the the Lord spoke to Moses and says, speak to the Israelites. There's two. And now we're in Israel. Stop fucking around with the tribe. And give you a staff for each tribe. So by discarding and having memorized, you've transitioned out. However, you discarded the legend. Now I need the capitulation of this website we're talking about to be they have all of this other doesn't exist data that they're like this can't that they're a microcosm of everything. Just what did you do? You shouldn't have been born, kids. And literal literal, literal. Wow, I need this generation of what did you see in the news that you missed? Let me tell you what you saw in the everything, and I'm kind of curious as to why you guys still retain the 6,000 year, a year and a half. It's beyond. Kids, kids, kids. Yes, that's a meeting that God didn't walk in when face to face with Moses, and Moses did not establish according to these people. And so Moses did leave them without brains and without the written record and with the legend. Moses did leave them with a really communicative legend that's on and off. And the next one time we meet, the Lord said to Aaron, so right there, you, you and your sons, together with the members of your father's tribe, shall be fully answerable. And so answer. You know your legend so well. With they only know one thing. They can't stop. That they're preaching a weird. They created an apocryphal Bible. Is what they did, an apocryphal interpretation retained within their apocryphal legends that they need to collapse into it and understand a hell of a lot better. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Dead Sea Scrolls. There we go. On the 15th Dead Sea Scrolls, on the day King Ahasuerus gave Queen Esther the house of Haman, enemy of the Jews, and Mordecai came into the king's presence, where Esther had told him now he was related to her. So we'll take that as kind of a friendly, I'd like to marry you or something. It's send me a picture sometime. I want to know what you look like. I'm chatting with I'm appreciating your time, irregardless. We are doing this for. I'm gathering all of this data. This has to be done. pastor. Their land is filled with silver and gold, so what does he missing out on? His book after book after book after book after book. Also, I read most of them. Yeah, really, what else will you do? Yeah. Well, you read those 1950s books pretty quick. They're all 250 pages and 14-point font and really good texture and 200 pages long. Yeah, you follow the legend pretty easily, and the one of my favorites was the I picked it up. I told you though, it had one of the sermons. It was 1906. The greatest sinners of the Bible and a bunch of sermons, right? 1906 and 1904 or something. And I'm with this over there in Seattle, hanging around with a methamphetamine kid, turned out to be. And we were done, I know, but the, um, there's a type of loss of ethic in that is hard to explain. And he actually stole this book from me. And so I said, I didn't have the cash to, it wasn't going to spend, I didn't have the money to buy this $8 book. And inside of it, it's had a postcard from 1921. And it was, hey, do you remember that book you swiped off of me? Remember the greatest sinners of the Bible? And so it had a ledger of how this book was stolen. And then so I was able to put in, hey, my ledger, this man stole it from me. But I took Maxwell down a year and a half later and I paid for that thing. I said, hey, this is actually stolen. I'd like to buy it for that. I'll tell you a story. And I said, thank you, but I'd like to. I told them, and they just said, okay. And so I paid them for it. Told them the story. And and I had Maxwell with me. Greatest sinners of the Bible. And so it has, it was stolen, and it was stolen. Came with the postcard and all of that. And all of this stuff where the King James Version of the Bible, Matthew chapter 5, verse 1, began with the word B-O-O-K, where in the year 1666, the Read Me with Wisdom code and to memorize the whole Bible, I suspect it, was the legitimate backmasking of it, the backmasking of the Bible into where is God not? And God is not in the New Testament portion, is what the great fireblind educator told me. God is not actually in the New Testament portion. I wish we covered a couple more times. Which 1976 New Testament portion I'm taking away from the United States, an example. 1859, again, with your explain a lot of things to me. You have been working on this repetitive theory for how long? How long? 160 years. The theory is expired. Come on, kids. And the theory, yes. Well, then I'll take the Bible away from religion at the expiration of the theory, okay? And that would be the explanation of the actual content of the Bible, which was don't use me with respect to the Bible was a product of the Dead Sea Scrolls and not the religion is a byproduct. Probably closer to 300 miles out from the center of wherever the Bible's correctedness in the year 1977 was so far obviously wrong. However, it took us so far obviously wrong 13 years to determine that. And that so far obviously ended with me at 1611 Apocrypha collapse at 1610 data that we have in recently. The that meant the local doctor with this union of, hey, I have a distance and time situation with the distance and time situation with the church that has a distance and time retention, and legend retention does not have a distance and time a reunion with distance and time people who we did used to distance and time walk there 20,000 years ago, and how in distance and time the Toppenish Indian Reservation is a perfect distance and time example. Right? The what do you think they were really doing? They weren't. That was an entirely different uh, uprising. We kept their history as a legend. We kept them as savages rather than Neolithic royalty, as expected, and turning that off at not seeing that as legend is turning that into savage, and not seeing it as Neolithic history. Yeah. So you're keeping a 6,000 year seedling document which contained legitimate Neolithic history, documented, written by Moses, and dictated by God for the retention of the Bible, the actual retention of. So what did Moses and God speak about in together, so you can understand what they were working with when people were being, what were they, stubborn, stiff-necked children. 6,000 year legend retained. Nasty retention. The temple and its organization. David now gave orders to assemble the aliens resident in Israel, and he set them as masons to dress hewn stones and to build the house of God. Let me underline that. That's beautiful, beautiful poetry. He set them as masons to build the house of God. The masons, George Washington, David, so masons assembled the aliens. So I'm using YouTube to assemble the alien resident. Some masons dress hewn stones. So this is sapphire. There's only 22. Yes. That and just there's only 22. Nails is only 22 sapphire, dude. Big nails. There's only 20 clamps. Clamps 22 sapphire. How many more do I need? So we're clamping into that 6,000 year legend kept over there. The doors more bronze. You're right here, all of Wikipedia, please. Doors more bronze. Doors more bronze. There's a Wikipedia apocryphal Bible also. Let's see there. And number 4. Wikipedia Apocrypha. Yeah. So with the creative, oh my goodness, when did anything in when you typed in Wikipedia, you were able to figure out that everything kind of blended together into a very creative Earth history. Um, the apocryphal Earth history, I suppose. The Zadok, yeah, it was in the apocryphal Earth history, I suppose. Blessed art thou, Lord God and Father of Israel, from of old and forever. Thine, O Lord, is the greatness, the power, the glory, the splendor, and the majesty. For everything in heaven and on earth is thine. Thine, O Lord, the sovereignty, and thou art exalted over all as head. Wealth and honor come from thee. Thou rulest over all. Might and power are the disposing of thine. It is to give power and strength to all. And now we give thanks, our God, and praise thy glorious name. So, how would we do that if we can't agree on a glorious name other than say it doesn't matter? The uh, oh God, the heathen have set foot on thy domain. Yeshua, stop using the name Jesus, defile thy holy temple, thank you, and fled Jerusalem and ruins. It has to do with it being more like a little fishhook thing that takes the vibration when you use the letter J, sucks out your brains, leaves you into a encephaly every time you pray to Jesus. So be careful. I'd even stop typing it. They have thrown out the dead bodies of thy servants. Thank you. Yeshua fed to feed the birds of the air. Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. See, I was more like we Morgan and the little feelers were reading sniffing this again. They had made the loyal servants carrying for the wild beasts our Morgan Mindy feelers to help care for the earth better than 1610. We will have 1610 in our children right here. So the Lord of Hosts, who was like the 1610 work, the strength and fullness, O Lord, surround thee. Thank you. I love these songs, these proverbs. The glory of God is to keep things hidden. And I need to get more of these. The collection of proverbs. All I have a bunch of those. The when it's collated, put that apocryphal data around it. The proverbs are always magnificent. And so we have proverb package, proverb package. Whoa, check it out. And that I'm always some time with after I get through the collapse of cult. We need to take care of collapse of cult first. So this is the word of the Lord of God when I spoke in the days of old through my servants the prophets who prophesied in those days unceasingly. It was you whom I threatened to bring against Israel on that day when at length God came. So we have an underlying point for God. That would be Gog and Magog. Ezekiel, fucking so again. Ezekiel, the Lord, Ezekiel, the book of the so Ezekiel Apocrypha, Apocryphal Ezekiel. I like that. I like seeing that right there. I like seeing that. Foreman sacrifice on mountaintops. Your men sacrifice, not four. But it goes to a 13. That's kind of cool. 13. 13 neat. Talk about fucking so go through everything. Yeah, he liked that. Therefore your daughters play. Therefore your daughters play the wonton. Let's see what that was over in Hosea 4 or 5. Somewhere. I mean later. 16:10. And then it goes into that. And their mother turned one time. No guilt of. Bring no guilt of. We have a call. 6,000 years in the earth deducted on in the year 2020. Bring no guilt offering. I told you to do that. Dead Sea Scrolls. Dead Sea Scrolls. John's disciples heard the news and they took the body away and laid it in a tomb. When John's disciples saw the Dead Sea Scrolls, they took them away. Dead Sea Scrolls. Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, so here what the last whatever however long we've been going, the that's provided to me. I have too many Bibles that I need to get through to over the next couple of days to figure out what I'm looking at. It is I've already looked at them all, and 1961, 1970. You're looking at 17th century writing to the 17th century writing in 1946. 17th century. 17th century authors. 17th century. Is it 1800s or the 1600s? Yeah, is that the. I can think about it. 1666, 1610, 1610 to the New English Bible, 1611. Beside the 1946, that'll help. No, this collapses. Oh my goodness. All of this data. Oh my goodness. Should have seen this one coming. I should have seen this one coming. Pastor, I told you. Why it's a collapse Bible meditation. Because it is pretty foul, 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 foul. This is because God and Moses spoke face to face, and Moses did raise the foul, and He gave us a true, not legend of like history. So, but however, what then later got transcribed or transposed as a true legend of Earth history. He used it as a false deductive point. And so this true, not legend of Earth history I've been able to unravel because of the true I've been able to unravel because of it's this true thing with God and Moses face to face, true. So we understand there was prior interpretation, and the Lord spoke to Moses and said, when the number of Israelites, when you numbered the Israelites for the purpose of registration. So okay, let's go take a nap. Yo, let's go take a nap. All right. I've been 45 and 4406. Okay, let's. Thanks for hanging out on Sunday afternoon.